Hello again, ladies and gents, and welcome back to another episode of Blitz with Shell. I hope that you've been enjoying the patch 2.6 update as much as I have been. I think the new game mechanics are a lot of fun, being able to penetrate tanks behind soft cover with AP shells, as well as being able to get the surprise ricochets and potentially penetrating a peripheral enemy tank that's adjacent to your initial target that you happen to ricochet off of. I have gotten a few lucky bounces that have swung in the right direction, penetrate a Comet next to a like a KV-4, KV-3, for example, T-150. I forget. It was one of those big old Russian heavies. It's in my last video if you want to check it out with the VK-28. Anyways, I have fully unlocked the SPIC. Like many of you have been enjoying these German lights. They add a whole new element of gameplay, especially once you get into the higher tiers. I think that earlier on, like tanks like the Panzer 2G and the Lux, they're awesome, they're cute, they're deadly. However, because there are other light tanks at those tiers, I don't feel like you truly get an idea of what a light tank can add to gameplay until you start getting into tiers where we typically just had tank destroyers, heavies, and mediums. It's like tiers 7, 8, and so forth. So as far as the gameplay goes, how would it vary from a medium tank? First and foremost, I would say that the camo rating is excellent on these, and you also maintain your camo rating on the move. So using a 3% camo boost by having this applied camouflage, with an already good camo rating, that 3% goes a little further, and it's on the move, so you can stay unseen relatively easily. You're also a very small package, so as far as having like your big old rear end, if you're an E100, you might be hiding behind as much cover as you can, but nothing's just going to hide it. This, you can get wedged in behind some pretty unique spots and stay unseen. So what are some of the advantages of this tank? Well, on paper, I would say that the penetration of a gun this small, it's a 90mm autoloader. You get 2 rounds in a magazine, 12-second reload, and roughly 240 alpha per shot. Now, there is a 3-second intermediary period between shots in the magazine, so it doesn't feel like an autoloader to me. It feels like a quick reload using like adrenaline or something, and then you have a longer reload after the fact. So just be aware of that. Poke out, shoot, hide, poke out again, shoot, hide, wait the long reload or reposition. That is what I recommend if you're using the autoloader. If you happen to use the single shot 90mm, literally the same damage and pen, you get slightly better dispersion at the expense of rate of fire. It's a really minor nerf, if you will, in comparison to the two. Now, as far as armor goes, this looks really well angled. I have gotten maybe one lucky bounce in all of the playing that I've done with this tank, which tells you a lot about the 15mm of frontal armor protecting you. On a good day and on a bad day, everything's going to pen you. HE is going to pen you no matter what, and it will wreck you, so be very wary of those big Russian tank destroyers that primarily shoot HE at little guys like you. So, we know that the armor is crap, we know that it's relatively quick. It's got decent acceleration, but if you're stopped and get ambushed, you're not going to be able to get out of that situation nearly fast enough before you die, again, because of the armor situation going on. And so, how do you play this tank? What I'd highly recommend is getting behind some cover like hills. You do have a really good gun depression on paper, but in practice I find that because the chassis is so small, I feel like when you go up a ridge or something, it angles and pitches your chassis a little bit differently, a little bit more. So more gun depression doesn't go quite as far for you. So one thing I find is if you're going up a hill, let's say you're going up a hill like this, angle to the side and shoot over the side here, and I find that that gives you a little bit better angle to work with because it lowers the total angle of the chassis. So instead of coming up like this, if you're coming up at this side, it lowers it a bit, so then you can get your gun a little lower as well. But anyways, I find cover like that, think like a T-54 or an E-50 with bad gun depression. This tank has slightly better gun depression than them, for example, but you can kind of ride alongside a hill and work pretty well with that. But what I recommend is stay hidden. If you get spotted, hide immediately, reset your camo value, because you would be surprised, especially if you're the only light tank in the game, once you're spotted, how everybody will turn their attention to you. They will stop what they're doing, they'll stop mid-shot in a heavy, turn around, face you, and try to wreck you, because you're an XP farm for them. If they get one round into you, you're pretty much dead. And so, always be wary, stay hidden, be very, very careful around your surroundings, know what's going on, keep a teammate nearby, do not go alone. But that being said, we will get into some gameplay. Just a word of warning, this is the North American server on a weekend, so you know we have a lot of window lickers that have eaten a lot of lead paint immediately prior to playing, and so I have had some of the worst games in recent history today, trying to get this thing ground up to the kind of condition that would be perfect for giving you guys a replay. So, Black Goldville is a good match for this tank because it allows you, the extra range allows you to really use that camo rating. If you stay in a bush, kind of unseen, you can do a lot in the way of spotting. You don't necessarily need to shoot, keep that in mind when thinking about stealth. You can do a lot of damage without even shooting, just by virtue of keeping the enemy lit up and allowing your team to do the dirty work for you. Let them take the shots. You'll get the experience because of the spotting experience component of this. So we'll see him before he sees us. He definitely doesn't see us, but I am backing off. There's no way I am going to... I'm not going to shoot. Oh, I've been spotted and I've been shot at. So time to get some damage into him and get the F out. And so we're going to traverse our little butt back behind some cover. And we are going to stay here until he goes away, so we know that we went away. I'm going to poke my head around. So now we know who's spotting us. So we're kind of pinned. So I'm going to work my way back here. Being careful to keep cover between him and I. I think I'm going to go up to assist my buddies on the hill. Since that guy is going to be sitting for a while anticipating me to be stupid and poke out again, because again it's the weekend, well, let's keep him patiently waiting. Now that T-29's over there somewhere, so I'm not feeling brave enough to head back and around and flank, especially with this amount of HP. And so what we'll do, we'll poke around the corner. Looks like our team did pretty good at holding them back at the hill. We have this guy poking out, tracked him, that was a lucky shot. And we got rid of a Tiger too. You see, you can do about 500 in damage, so a lot of damage in a small package. And actually, you know what, the between shot waiting period is much smaller than I originally may have let on, now that I get a chance to play this a little bit more. I'm not liking this, so he doesn't even see me. I'm gonna use heat. I'm gonna wreck him. So we did a lot of damage there, not just to the tank, but also to modules. We cannot pen him from the front though, but luckily he's already dead, and you can see. You see, sometimes you just aren't that lucky. And what I want to do is distract him if I can, but he's already dead. So sometimes staying spotted can work in your favor. I recommend only doing it if you're trying to protect your team. If you're right next to cover and you want people looking at you, waiting for you, not shooting at other exposed targets, I find that you can be a clever distraction or a great bait to lead people into a trap. So this game actually wasn't too bad compared to some of the others I was playing. This is actually the first victory in a long time that I survived. To be able to show you guys. And so our team actually, you can see we did okay. The enemy team, however, it looks like they got more of the window lickers. And so I'll show you another game just to give you an idea as far as what this tank can do. And another great map, if people do the right thing here, is Winter Malinovka. And here's what the right thing in this situation would be. It's kind of risky, but I like to have everybody go hill except for one small tank, fast tank. A medium or a light, and you go cut through the middle lake, down the hill and up there. Wait a little bit before you come up over the other ridge, and just to make sure everybody's still going hill on the enemy team, and then you sneak around back and you just wreck them, distract them, let your team be able to push when you get some of the heavy slow tanks in the back turned around. But this is the weekend, so you can see We already have a couple people. All of us are going to flank because that's how the lemming train works. And so let's head this way. We have some people trailing us, and we are going to just continue to go this way. We do see... got some company. What I'm going to do is stay here, hidden, wedged away. For a little bit, at least. I'm going to poke my head over the top, see what everyone else is doing. I don't see anybody, so we're going to be a little bit more brave. Oh, spotted someone. Going to come around the back. Hopefully put some good shots into this T-3485. So we're going to reload while we can. And hopefully this combat, it looks like he's coming through, but we do have some help on our side. So I'm going to use the good gun elevation in this little position to wedge in. Missed the first shot. Bounced the second one off of that troll gun manlet. So we're going to let it reload. It looks like he's going to get banged up pretty good before we even get a chance to reload. We might be able to get the killing blow in, and we do. Sorry guys, I'm going to be that guy. So, we have a tier 7 heavy, and we got ourselves this little guy. I find that these M4 A3E8s, honestly, they do pretty well against a tank like this, and I'm not sure what it is exactly about it. Maybe I'm just underestimating them. So that was a bad shot. So let's get some cover in between us and him. And actually, you can see we're having him, keeping him guessing. Come on, guy, move. Alright, so we got 3 kills so far. I would say that my team, you can see how well this tank does, much like the video with the Conqueror. It does well in good company, so if you have your enemy team shooting at your friends, you can see how you can really do a lot of damage real quickly. Now we do have another light. We got the T-62 Dragon with us. And we will move along. See what we can do. So we got a couple snipers. I'm going to move down through the center here. Found our first target, Tiger P. Looks like we'll be moving in to engage them a little bit afterwards, after the main force gets there. So we might be picking through remains, but what's nice is if you come in second string, because most of the tanks already have their target engaged. If they're tunnel visioning like this, you can really mess them up. So we got our 2 shots out. Gonna move in behind him. And they're gone. It's not a bad little game here. So I find that this tank is a lot of fun. You're not going to be able to duke it out with the heavies. If you're looking for something with armor, this is definitely not it. So I guess the one thing I would say about this tank, if you're someone that prefers mediums with lighter armor like the Comet, Cromwell, if you're one of those few people who really enjoy the Leopard especially, Leopard PTA, Leopard 1, these are the kind of tanks that you'll really have a lot of fun with, where stealth matters more than firepower and survivability. And so you see we did pretty well. I mean, there are plenty of other games out there. You see we're only, what is that, 80% of players who have played it in the past week, so there are plenty of better games out there. But that being said, that this tank in a nutshell, hope you enjoyed it, and subscribe below. It definitely helps the channel out. And we'll see you on the next video. Thank you.